Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining me on this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the early kick-off in the Championship. It's a top-of-the-table clash as second-place Fulham take on third-placed West Bromwich Albion. Just a point between them after 14 games. Fulham on 29, West Bromwich Albion on 28. And both sides in good form. Fulham slightly better form in their last 5 games, at least just the one defeat. That was that 4-1 reverse away at Coventry City, where they really fell apart in the second half. West Brom have had 2 defeats in their last 5 games. Swansea City away in their last away game. That was a 2-1 defeat. They also lost away at Stoke at the beginning of October. But straight away on the attack are West Bromwich Albion on the left-hand side. A cross coming in from Grant, headed away back into midfield, and Snodgrass lays the ball off now to Matt Clark, back over towards the left-hand side here for Grant. As West Brom trying to put some early pressure here on the home side, but forced to go back towards the halfway line. Carl Bartley now playing it square to Semi Ajayi. And he tries an early ball towards the edge of the area as Matt Phillips tries to flick that one past Tim Ream, but then runs straight into the American, and the ball is eventually cleared by Anthony Robinson up towards the halfway line. West Bromwich Albion win the ball straight back though. Here comes Phillips now down the left-hand side. Robinson does well though to get in his way, and then a clearance is charged down by Darnell Furlong. A bouncing ball at the edge of the area. Still a bit of work here for Fulham. They can't quite clear their lines. Ream puts a foot through that one, eventually reaches the edge of the area before Dennis Adoy finally clears that ball past the halfway line, and Fulham can now regroup. But the starting 11 for Fulham, it is Marek Rodak in goal with the back 4 of Dennis Adoy, Tosin Adebayo, Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson. Harrison Reed and Jean-Michel Seri are the 2 holder midfielders, with Bobby De Cordova-Reid, Harry Wilson and Neeskins Cabano as the attacking 3 playing behind Alex Mitrovic. I'll go through the West Brom 11 in just a moment because they're on the attack again now down the left-hand side. A cross coming in from Connor Townsend right on the line. Fulham were appealing that should be out for a goal kick. It's not given. Michael Salisbury is our referee this afternoon. It's out for a throw to West Brom down the left-hand side. But this has been a bright start from Valerian Ismail's side. So trying to put early pressure here on Fulham. Throw on down the left here with Connor Townsend going back towards Robert Snodgrass. Snodgrass inside now to Bartley. Phillips at the edge of the area trying to spin away from Ream. He gets a strike away. Ball loops up in the air, but it drops harmlessly just under the crossbar. Comfortable save for Marek Rodak. So for West Brom, Sam Johnstone is in goal with a back 3 of Semi Ajayi, Kyle Bartley and Matt Clark. The 4 across the middle are Darnell Furlong, Robert Snodgrass, Jake Livermore and Connor Townsend, with Matt Phillips, Karlan Grant and Jordan Hugill as the 3 up front. It's now with Adoy down the right-hand side here for Fulham, playing it short towards Harry Wilson. But West Brom really have flooded that midfield, so the home side are heading back towards their own penalty area. Tim Ream now over to his fellow compatriot Anthony Robinson. But again, there's a line of yellow shirts, West Brom, in their change. A yellow strip this afternoon. They're making it very difficult for Fulham to try and play out from the back as Adebayo plays it square to Ream. A bit more space now for Robinson down the left-hand side. He gets a ball into the penalty area as Cabano was pushing forward. But that's well worked by Ajayi to at least put the ball out for a throw. Avoids giving away the corner kick. It's going to be a throw to Fulham down the left-hand side. Anthony Robinson back now towards the halfway line. Ream then plays it square to Adoy. There is, of course, a Premier League game being played at the same time, also available on our service. It's a Leicester City against Arsenal, and I can tell you that Arsenal have just taken the lead at the King Power Stadium. Confirm the goal scorer. It's Gabriel that's got the goal for Arsenal, so unless there's going to be a VAR check, it looks like an early lead for Mikel Arteta's side. But back to matters here at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham on the attack down the left-hand side. Cabano chasing that one, gets all the way to the byline and does put a cross in. Really was up against it here, Cabano, with this ball from Ream. Just a little bit too much pace on it, but Cabano does really well to just about get there before it goes out for a goal kick. And then the ball put out by Clark. So it is going to be a corner kick to Fulham now. Coming up to 5 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Fulham 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. Fulham's first corner kick of the game. It's Seri from the left-hand side. Plays it to the edge there for Wilson, who hits it first time. Would have been a glorious goal if it had worked out, but it gets a deflection. That was always the plan here from Seri, just to float that ball just past the penalty spot. And Wilson was coming in, doesn't quite get the cleanest of contacts with the ball. It's also well worked there by Livermore, closing him down, deflecting that one out for a corner. So it's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Wilson. from the right-hand side, aimed at the edge of the 6-yard box, punched away by Johnston. Now it's picked up on the left-hand side here by Reed. His cross into the box is cleared. And now Seri plays the ball over the top down the right-hand side, but it's too much height on that one. And it's straight out for a throw to West Bromwich Albion, just level with the edge of their own penalty area. As mentioned, it's been good form for Fulham. That one defeat in the last month, that was away at Coventry City. But that was after a very difficult September, where the Cottagers only got the one win. It was a 4-1 win away at Birmingham City. But defeats and just the one draw apart from that, so it was important for Fulham to show a bit of a recovery in October, whereas West Bromwich Albion went through September without a defeat, but just the one win in that month. It was at home to QPR, and so I should say, and also went right at the end of the month away at Cardiff. But 3 draws in a row, including a draw at home to Millwall, a 0-0 draw at home to Derby. Would have been a very frustrating result for West Brom as well. Both sides, of course, Fulham and West Brom, very much with ambitions to get back into the Premier League. Both teams chasing down Bournemouth, who currently have a 5-point advantage over Fulham. Coventry City just behind, and then there's a real glut of teams. If you look at the table, it's Blackburn in 12th place on 20 points. And they are only a point behind Luton Town, who are in 6th. So it's still a very flat top half of the table in the Championship. Famously one of the hardest leagues to try and tip up, because it really is a very, very competitive division. And every weekend almost you see at least 1 or 2 surprises. There's West Brom making a bit of a mess of playing out from the back here. Just a couple of short balls and then a bit of pressure from Fulham at the edge of the area. And it was a quick ball by Townsend, swept back towards his own box. And there was nobody in the yellow shirt tracing that pass. So in the end, it just goes harmlessly out for a corner here, with no one in a West Brom shirt close enough to really try and stop that. So a gift of a corner here for Fulham. And it's going to be Wilson to whip it in from the right-hand side. In fact, no, it's a short ball from Wilson. He gets it back, lays it off to Cabano, and then Cabano finds himself some space. He puts the cross in, good header away by Ajayi. Second ball is with Wilson. Cleared away to the edge of the area. Now Livermore plays it over towards Clark. And a ball over the top from Matt Clark. Just a little bit too high there for Karlan Grant. And Robinson, who stayed back on the halfway line as the last defender for Fulham with that corner. He's able to get the ball back to Marek Rodak. Rodak now rolls this back towards Tim Ream. Looking at the 2 benches. Strong benches for both sides this afternoon. Onoma, Tete, Hector, Carvalho, Carney, Rodrigo Muniz and Paulo Gazzaniga on the bench for Fulham this afternoon. As I just break off from that, because there's a long ball played towards the edge of the West Brom penalty area. Goalkeeper Johnston came a long way out. Doesn't really get the ball, but he's covered by Matt Clark, and the ball is eventually cleared up towards the halfway line. But we'll see this. It's a bouncing ball at the edge of the area, and I think Johnston expected this ball to go out for a goal kick, which it didn't. Wilson was there. He actually stabbed the ball to keep it in play. And then he was motioning to his teammates to try and join him up front, because there was nobody close by from Fulham to try and take advantage of that. It certainly just shows that the turf in that corner is a little bit slow, because it looked the pace of that ball over the top looked as though it was easily going to go out for a goal kick. That's probably what Johnston imagined, but realised that Wilson was going to get there ahead of him. In the meantime, the ball's gone up the other end. It's been cleared out for a throw, which is taken here by Townsend. Nodded down by Hugill, and then Grant couldn't quite get that ball back into the penalty area. It's cleared towards the halfway line. Bartley now switching play over towards the right-hand side, headed down by Darnell Furlong, but Matt Phillips won't get on the end of that. It's Ream who clears it towards the halfway line. Ajayi's header just gets away from Jake Livermore. But West Brom still in possession, flicked up in the air by Matt Phillips. He gets it back from Jordan Hugill, but Adebayo gets his foot in the way, and Fulham are back in possession here with a deckled over Reed. Tim Ream now over towards the left-hand side, and here is Anthony Robinson's got a bit of space here, but switches play over towards the right. Wilson takes it down, tries to tee it up for deckled over Reed. His strike is, it takes a big deflection, takes all the sting out of it. The ball actually wriggling towards the 6-yard box. And it was Mitrovic trying to chase it down, but the goalkeeper, Johnston, gets there first. It's good covering from Connor Townsend. If Townsend wasn't where he was at the edge of the box, then Wilson would have had time to take that down and get a shot away on his preferred left foot as well. But it's good covering there from the West Brom left-back. Or a left-sided midfielder, of course, with them playing this 3-4-3 formation, As now the ball goes out of play down the left-hand side. Karlan Grant wins his side a throw. 10 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It is Fulham 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. Plenty of games coming up this afternoon, and there's an 8 o'clock kickoff as well as Reading take on Bournemouth. And as far as the 3 o'clocks, it's Bristol City, Barnsley, Derby, Blackburn, Huddersfield against Millwall, Hull against Coventry City, Middlesbrough against Birmingham City, Preston, Luton, Sheffield United, Blackpool, Stoke City, Cardiff City, and Swansea City against Peterborough United. Ball now out for a goal kick to Fulham, taken short. There's still 3 West Brom players pressing here. As Adoy now plays this ball back. Oh, it wasn't too far away from Matt Phillips. Just about got through to goalkeeper Rodak, and now Fulham are away down the left-hand side, but Anthony Robinson drops a shoulder and gets away from Furlong, but then he undercooks the pass to Cabano, and that's slid out of play there by Robert Snodgrass, out for a throw to Fulham down the left-hand side. Robinson going back towards Ream, and now it's with Adebayo on the halfway line, over towards Dennis Adoy on the right-hand side. He plays the ball in. That's poor touch though from Mitrovic, trying to play it first time to Decordova-Reid, but then Snodgrass gets himself in a bit of a pickle and he loses his balance at the edge of the area. Fulham are back in possession now with Jean-Michel Seri, and then the referee Michael Salisbury gets in the way of a pretty obvious square pass. I mean, he puts his hand up straight away, the referee can't really do much else here. It is going to be a drop ball for Fulham, but it just loses the pace of that attack. They were actually moving that ball over from right to left, trying to get a bit of speed into the attack. Obviously, in the meantime, West Bromwich Albion are back in numbers. It's now with Anthony Robinson back towards Tim Ream on the halfway line. Ream steps forward. It's a lovely sunny day in West London today as well. Just saw a shot of the side of the pitch there. Doesn't look like there's much cloud cover at all. Lovely bright sunny day. Certainly in contrast to other parts of the country today where there has been some severe rain. But so far it's been a pretty slow start here in this game. I think Fulham have tried to inject a little bit of pace after that very bright start from West Brom. Just the last few minutes, the two sides just cancelling each other out a little bit in midfield. But Fulham now with a big advantage in terms of possession, as Robinson down the left, back inside towards Reid. Reid now back to Adebayo, and it's with Dennis Adoy down the right-hand side, being closed down by Grant, and that has an effect there. Adoy just miscontrols that one and goes straight out for a throw. West Brom now with a chance to try and clear this ball away from their own half. It's with Connor Townsend. You can see touches in the opposition box after 30 minutes. 4 touches for Fulham, 4 touches for West Brom. But the possession stat, 63% for Fulham, 37% for West Bromwich Albion. So the home side is seeing almost double the amount of possession. But in terms of attacking opportunities or getting touches in the opposition box, it's pretty similar so far. And Fulham now trying to play out from the back. They're trying to avoid playing long balls. When you look at that back line, Clark, Bartley and Ajayi for West Brom, there's not many aerial battles that those three are going to lose between them. So it does make sense to try and keep the ball on the deck as much as possible. So the ball now with Robinson down the left-hand side, being closed down by Matt Phillips. Goes back to Tim Ream. He's got a couple of options here. Feeds that into Seri. Over towards Robinson down the left-hand side. Now it's with Cabano. As West Brom doing what they can just to flood their own half, making it difficult for Fulham to get forward. Adoy now inside towards Decordova-Reid. Back to Adoy. That's good pressing though from Livermore to win his side the throw. Snodgrass is closing down as well. Both managers look towards the referee saying that should be our ball. And I think in the end it is going to be a Fulham throw. You can see Marco Silva very animated there on the touchline, trying to get some instructions out to his players. As it's now played back towards the goalkeeper Sam Johnston. It was Townsend's ball back to Johnston, and now he clears it towards the right-hand side, headed on by Furlong. It's a good header as well, just a little bit too much distance on that one. And it's back with Ream, who then sends a huge ball down the left-hand side. Does that stay in play? If it does, that's a really good ball from Ream, and Cabano does really well to keep possession. Then he's brought down by Ajayi, and it's out for a well, it's been given as a free kick, but West Bromwich Albion are now quick to make the point. They felt that Ream's original pass had gone out of play. I'll tell you what, it looked as though it bounced and might have just swerved a little bit as it hit the turf. but it does look as though it might have just stayed in. I mean, it was a very close decision. The linesman was past the halfway line there, so he wouldn't have had the closest view of that, but if anything, that meant he might have just had a slightly better a slightly better view of it from a long way away. But it has been given as a free kick to Fulham now after Ajayi had tripped Neeskens Cabano, and Mitrovic being marked there by Ajayi, as Furlong is marking Tim Ream. Decordova-Reid just standing a little bit further away. It's Harry Wilson standing over the ball, so only about 5 yards away from the left-hand edge of the West Brom penalty area. But Wilson leaves this for Seri. It's a right-footed ball in. It was aimed at Adebayo, headed away towards the edge of there. Then a follow-up effort comes crashing in from Cabano, but he's hit it first time as the ball bounces back to him at the edge of the area. Tries to catch it on the volley and slices that one wide in the end. Never looked like it was threatening Johnston's goal. It's always a couple of yards away. Goal kick now to West Bromwich Albion. So was going to do the West Bromwich Albion bench, but then we had a bit of quick play, so just to confirm that it is Bryant, Diangana and Kipra, Reach, Malumbi and goalkeeper Button on the bench for West Bromwich Albion this afternoon. And they're in possession now down the right hand side with Darnell Furlong towards the ball in towards Jake Livermore. This is around about the halfway line now. It's ball played over towards, looks like there was a free kick as Livermore was just trying to play that ball forward. We'll just see from the replay here, he briefly loses the ball here, Livermore slides in. He does get the ball. He takes a little bit of Tim Ream as well. I mean, it's only a couple of years ago, I think, that sort of challenge wouldn't have even sort of battered. Referees wouldn't have even noticed. But nowadays, I think any kind of challenge where you get a bit of the man before you get the ball is always going to be given as a free kick. Certainly no hard feelings between Reid and Livermore. Quick embrace after that free kick was given. It's a throw to Fulham down the left here with Robinson inside to Reid. Now it's Jean-Michel Seri. Back towards Adebayo on the halfway line. Still a lion's share of possession here for Fulham, but they're not finding it easy work to get into that West Bromwich Albion penalty area. Certainly not getting shots away to worry the goalkeeper so far. Now we're back with Adebayo again as he steps forward. Under pressure there from Grant. Goes over towards Adoy on the right hand side. His ball into Seri. It's just picked off there by Snodgrass, and West Brom now trying to go on a counter. Grant being well marked though by Adoy, who then wins that ball back. Grant can't keep possession of it, and Decordova-Reid is away for Fulham now, heading towards the edge there, threads the ball here through to Mitrovic. That's a good challenge there from Bartley, or is it a good challenge? The referee has given a penalty, and Fulham on 18 minutes are going to have a spot kick here. Michael Salisbury looks pretty convinced that this is a penalty. I've got to say, when that ball was played into Mitrovic, I thought it was a little bit under hit, which made it just that little bit more difficult for Mitrovic to get possession of the ball. But we can see absolute furious reaction there on the West Bromwich Albion bench. We'll see what happens here. It's Grant that gets caught in possession. It's Decordova-Reid who just flicks the ball into the box here for Mitrovic. I don't know. I mean, I think that Bartley's getting the ball there, but has he brought the man down first? See from this replay, I'm not sure. The referee seems very convinced. I mean, the Mitrovic has barely had time to hit the deck, but I think if we had VAR in the Championship, which I know a lot of Championship fans of teams in the Championship are very happy about the fact we don't have VAR, but I think VAR might have reversed that decision, because to me, I think that Bartley has won the ball there. And Marco Silva certainly very happy with that decision, as is one of his assistants there, Luis Boamorte. Fulham legend, of course, on the field many years ago. But Mitrovic now with a great chance to put Fulham in front in this game. I say there is some scope to say there could have been a foul, but I thought that Bartley might have just got the ball as he was challenging Mitrovic inside the penalty area. But a golden opportunity now here for Fulham to take the lead. Mitrovic just waiting for the referee's whistle. It's taking a little while. Mitrovic steps up and he tucks the ball into the back of the net. Goalkeeper Johnston did guess the right way, but there was just too much power, too much placement there from Aleksander Mitrovic, and on 19 minutes Fulham take the lead. I'm sure that West Brom will still feel very aggrieved by the way that penalty was given. Jake Livermore still talking to Michael Salisbury about that. And I do wonder, of course, we never get to hear what referees think about their decisions after the game. But I do wonder if the referee might think about that one if he sees the replay, maybe at half-time or at full-time. It's a very good penalty from Mitrovic. Once it's given, you've got to try and take advantage, and Mitrovic certainly does well. But we'll see another replay here of the challenge. I think that Bartley gets the ball as Mitrovic is going over his foot, and the more I see this replay, the more I think that is the case. I mean, Karlan Grant has got to take some of the responsibility for this, because he was comfortably in possession when his side with the ball in midfield, and then suddenly gets robbed of the ball, and from that point on the penalty kick is given and Fulham are able to take the lead. But Valerian Ismail doesn't look particularly happy about the situation there, as the side responding straight away. They go up the other end, and it's Karlan Grant. Ball drops to him. It's a tight angle, fires that one across, and it's out for a goal kick. Down the it was Grant. The ball dropped to Grant. We were still getting a replay of that penalty, but for West Brom from the restart quickly go down the left-hand side. The ball played in, and Grant fires that across goal, and it's out for a goal kick. It's now on the halfway line. Ball now with Robert Snodgrass. Plays it across towards Livermore, who's robbed of the ball, and now Reid is able to fire a quick ball down the left-hand side, and Cabano breaking into the penalty area. He's in an offside position, and that is the end of that. It's a shame for Fulham. It looked like a very good opportunity for a counter-attack, and we'll see again here as the ball is played. Ooh, I tell you what, he's nowhere near offside. There's at least another yard or two there. Ajayi is playing a Cabano one side easily there, so potentially maybe that's a decision going in West Brom's favour when really there was no offside. Of course, they won't be too grateful for that, considering that they'll still feel very aggrieved about that penalty being given against them. Valerian Ismail there trying to get some instructions out to his players. Would have been pleased with the way his team have started the season. Would have been pleased with the way his team started this game, but they just fell away a little bit in the last 10 minutes or so, and then Fulham taking the lead with that penalty. I can tell you that there's been a second goal at the King Power Stadium. It's now Leicester City 0, Arsenal 2. Gabriel gave the Gunners the lead on 5 minutes. Emile Smith-Rowe makes it 2-0 to Arsenal now, so it's looking like a much more confident Arsenal team now under Mikel Arteta in the last 4 or 5 games. Fulham now in possession down the left-hand side here with Cabano, and then Reid runs straight into Semi Ajayi, and Fulham are surrounding the referee here. They feel as though there should be a booking there for Semi Ajayi, and Michael Salisbury agrees. He is going to get out his yellow card here for West Brom centre-back Ajayi. You can see here Reid just trying to flick that ball past Ajayi. There's not too much intent there from Ajayi, has to be said, but at the same time he doesn't get the ball, and in those situations I often think the defenders are on a bit of a hiding to nothing really, because if Ajayi jumps out of the way, well then his own teammates, manager and supporters are going to have a go at him, but if he stays where he is, then the Fulham man's going to run into him, and it's always going to be a free kick, and it's probably usually going to be a yellow card as well for stopping a counter-attack. So that situation, Ajayi really didn't have too many options. Fulham have a free kick. It's about 35 yards out on the left-hand side. Harrison Reid standing over this one. West Brom trying to play quite a high offside line. It's played short now to Seri, who then fires it into the box. Cabano just about controls it, but he was losing his balance as he was doing so. Couldn't get that ball to a teammate. It's with Sam Johnston, who quickly bowls it out towards Karlan Grant down the left-hand side. He then switches play over towards the right. Just a little bit short there for Matt Phillips. And Harry Wilson is back there to just slow things down here and win that ball back for Fulham. And then Reid going back towards his goalkeeper. Long clearance from Rodak up towards the halfway line. Ball just gets away from Cabano. And it's now with Kyle Bartley over to Matt Clark on the left-hand side. Connor Townsend now. Back in towards Robert Snodgrass. Flicked on by Karlan Grant. Chased down here by Grant himself. But Dennis Adoy gets there first. Slices his clearance slightly. And that is out for a throw to West Brom down the left-hand side. Townsend now waiting to take it. And to wait a little bit longer as the second ball just ended up on the pitch momentarily, but there's 3 or 4 options here for Townsend. Nobody necessarily coming short for the throw. Now Grant has just dropped off a little bit back in towards Townsend. Grant then heads it on into the box, but it's volleyed away by Adebayo towards the halfway line. Mitrovic fighting for it with Ajayi, but then Mitrovic holds it up and Decordova picks up the loose ball and he's off down the right hand side. He puts an early cross in which just eludes, I think it was Robinson coming in. Wilson, I beg your pardon, it was coming in to the middle of the penalty area. The ball just a little bit short for him. A long clearance now almost gets through towards Jordan Hugill, but he's dispossessed at the edge of the Fulham penalty area. And the home side are now back in possession here with Anthony Robinson down the left-hand side. He plays it in towards Harrison Reed, who'd got forward. Reed holds it up and plays it back towards Cabano. Cabano inside now to Mitrovic. Played back to Seri. Seri's ball into the box, flicked up in the air. Second ball now drops towards Cabano. And Cabano at the edge of the area, trying to get away from two players, breaks into the box, tees it up now for Seri, who really puts his foot through that one, but he lifts it a long way over the bar in the end. It's a nice bit of build-up there from Fulham. Couldn't quite get the ball into the box the first time round, so they patiently waited at the edge of the area. Ball eventually dropped towards Seri, but his strike always rising, never looked like it was going to threaten Sam Johnston's goal. Lovely bit of skill there from Cabano, dropping a couple of shoulders, getting away from Livermore and from Furlong. And now it's Johnston ready to restart play. Clearance from him now towards the halfway line. Slices it slightly, but Doy with the header puts it out, so it still will be a throw to West Brom, which Connor Townsend waits to take. A couple of options here down this left-hand side. He's stolen about 10 yards as well from where the throw-on should have been taken. Now it's headed on by Doy as he was looking for Hugo there, that throw from Townsend. Ball now back on the halfway line, and I'm pretty sure that was a foul there on Neeskins Cabano. It's about two players had a go at tripping him up. I think it's Snodgrass in the end that's got the final touch. Yeah, he actually runs into Cabano and trips him, and then Cabano falls into Kyle Bartley. And certainly Bartley isn't the smallest player on the field by any stretch, so Cabano would have felt that. But he's slowly picking himself up now. He's looking at the fixtures. Both teams in action in midweek next week, with Fulham travelling to Blackburn and West Bromwich Albion at home to Hull City. Hull City still in that relegation zone, just ahead of Barnsley. Derby County still rooted to the bottom after that points deduction. So Fulham now in possession, having taken that free kick short. And the ball now over on the right-hand side here with Harry Wilson, who is in an offside position. And Wilson now having to trot back as West Bromwich Albion have this free kick just at the edge of their own penalty area. Bartley waiting to take it. And needs to find a short option here. Nobody's... No, he's going to leave it for Sam Johnston in the end. West Brom just looking a little bit disjointed now, having conceded that goal. They're almost taking too much time over their own set pieces, and it's almost like they're partly contributing to the game slowing down right now, whereas Fulham actually keen to try and get forward and look for a second. West Brom have just got to come out of their shell a little bit more, especially now that they are a goal down. It's a long free kick there from goalkeeper Johnston. It ends up at the edge of the area. Grant just about keeps it in play, puts a cross in, which is cleared away by Adebayo. Out for a throw to West Bromwich Albion down the left-hand side. And it's Connor Townsend. We know that he has got a long throw, and he's shaping up to try and fire this one straight into the penalty area. Bartley and Ajayi are in the box for this one, but it's a short throw, just for a bit of deception there from Townsend. Now he puts a cross in, aimed at the back post. It just gets away from Ajayi. It drops to Matt Phillips, who sends a volley over the bar. Wasn't far away from Phillips, dropped invitingly for him, but the strike is just a little bit too high there from the West Brom number 10. Takes it down on the chest. In fairness, Jean-Michel Seri was flying at him, trying to close him down, so that probably just rushed Matt Phillips and just had him lifting that ball a little bit too high. Now for a Fulham goal kick. Up to 30 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Fulham 1, West Bromwich Albion 0. And in the early Premier League game, it is Leicester City 0, Arsenal 2. And all the Premier League games available on our service this afternoon. But I'll come back to that in a second as Fulham are caught in possession. And it is with, well, that should have been taken advantage of better there with Jake Livermore bringing the ball forward. Fulham are caught in possession in midfield. It was just a poor touch from Tim Ream. Well done by Livermore to close Ream down. But then he holds on to the ball a little bit too long. And in the end decides to strike it when really he should have looked to have passed it a little bit earlier there. The West Brom captain. It's a throw on down the right hand side, and they have got a long throw specialist on this side as well in the form of Darnell Furlong, and that is a long throw right to the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Decordova-Reid. It drops to Snodgrass, back to Furlong down the right hand side, Furlong into the 6-yard box. Tim Ream with the clearance back towards midfield, and Cabano there under pressure, goes down, but he wasn't fouled. Matt Phillips now floats the ball into the penalty area, headed down, and it's just away from goal. It was Kyle Bartley. I'm not sure that Bartley was heading towards goal, but I think he was trying to cushion that header down for a teammate. But as that ball was just dropping inside the 6-yard box, just a little bit too far away, Fulham was certainly felt as though there was a foul in the build-up to that. It's a good ball from Phillips. I think that perhaps Bartley was heading towards goal there, but just missed the back post. Ball is now out for a goal kick. Now Clark playing it back towards goalkeeper Johnston. Clearance from him up towards the halfway line. Taken down now by Jake Livermore. Plays it over the top here for Phillips, getting towards the edge of the area. Ream now closing it down, and in the end, Ream makes sure that the ball goes out of play for a goal kick. Some sort of signs of Fulham attack here, but we're just seeing a touch map here for Jordan Hugill. And he's had 6 touches of the ball so far in this game after 32 minutes, and he's the one playing up front for West Brom, so that gives you an indication of how little the ball is finding him. Visitors have got to do a little bit more to try and keep that ball in the final third. There's a real fight for it there in midfield. Reid slides in, catches Snodgrass, and it will be a free kick to West Brom. I'm not sure that Reid is going to get a booking here, but referee Michael Salisbury just standing over Snodgrass, making sure that he's okay. Fulham, with this large West Brom side that they're facing today, they're setting up very high with this offside line. I mean, the free kick is only about, they've set up about 15 yards away from the penalty area here for Fulham to try and make it as difficult as possible. When the ball comes in, it's headed on by Clark. Good save by Rodak. Despite that Fulham offside line being very high, Clark was still able to get a header towards goal. Good save from Rodak. First real bit of work he's had to do in this game, really. And the ball now back with Jake Livermore. Floated into the penalty area, but that one is too high in the end, and away for a goal kick. But Rodak called into action this time. You can see Clark just stayed on side. He heads it towards goal. It's on target. The trouble with the header is that it's at a right height for the goalkeeper, and it's not right in the corner either, so he's got time to set himself there, Rodak's more of a, I would say, a glancing header, but he's guided that ball towards goal rather than really putting power behind it. Matt Clark just made it that little bit easier there for the Fulham goalkeeper. Referee in the meantime spots an offside in favour of Fulham there. It's just Hugo getting a little bit too far forward, so it is going to be a free kick now to the home side. Quickly cleared up towards the halfway line, headed forward now by Seri. Bouncing ball just gets away from Cabano, gets a second chance to head that on towards Wilson, headed away by Ajayi. Robinson picks up the loose ball for Fulham, but that one is cleared a lot further this time by Darnell Furlong, all the way back to the Fulham penalty area. It's now with Tim Ream, and Ream playing it back towards the goalkeeper Rodak. Ream there, thought about playing it long, just saw that West Brom had set up very high, so he plays it short to Seri, and then the pass out towards Robinson, just a little bit too strong, so it's out for a throw to West Brom down the right hand side. Throw here from Furlong towards the edge of the area, headed up in the air by Hugill. Not a touch to add to his collection for this first half. It has really been a very limited involvement here for Hugill. That's not necessarily down to him altogether. It's just his side haven't had too much of the ball in the final third. They are seeing a bit more of the ball in attack now, West Brom. Still can't really do too much to test Marek Rodak. We're going to see for the 15th time, I think, this replay. I don't think it's a penalty. Every time I see it, I don't see any reason to give a penalty there. And the more replays I see, the more convinced I am that it was won cleanly here by Kyle Bartley. He gets the ball, and as he's getting the ball, it's Mitrovic that falls over his foot. I mean, I suppose it's all subjective. It all depends on which way you look at it. But I do wonder if there was a VAR check in the Championship, would the referee have felt as though Bartley actually wins the ball? I mean, the reaction of the West Brom players says a lot. It wasn't a case of them acting surprised. They really were genuinely shocked, because we know that footballers always, for the sake of posterity, always like to look surprised when there's a decision that goes against them. Their sort of default setting is to appeal it, to disagree with it. But I think with this one, you can just see Bartley looks shocked. I mean, he wins the ball, turns around, and suddenly sees the referee whistling and pointing to the spot. It really was a big surprise there for the West Brom centre-back. As there was a half chance there for Alex Mitrovic, but the ball played to the edge of the area, and he was actually in an offside position. Still got a shot away, which was saved in any case by the goalkeeper Johnston. It's out for a throw down the right-hand side for West Brom. It's taken back here by Furlong towards Ajayi. Now back over towards the left-hand side here, taken down by Townsend. Plays it early for Grant, who is well marshalled there by Tosin Adebayo. Out for a throw to West Brom. Certainly looking a little bit more attack-minded now in the last 10 minutes. Still only that one save for Rodak to make from that header from Matt Clark. But we saw Connor Townsend limbering up for a long throw and then dummying by just sending a short ball in towards the edge of the area. He does exactly the same thing this time. He gets the ball back. He puts a cross in, which is headed up in the air by Adebayo and then headed away for a corner by Denis Sadoy, despite his best acting efforts there to make out as though he never actually headed it last. I think the referee was always convinced that was going to be a corner kick to the visitors. So with this tall team that West Brom have, no surprise to see that they are the leading scorers in the Championship when it comes to goals from set pieces. They have 9, Huddersfield have 8, and then Bristol City have 6. But it's a corner now taken down the left-hand side. It's a short corner from Phillips back to Snodgrass. He then puts a ball in, it's headed down, and it's straight into the arms of Rodak. That was the best chance that West Brom have, and it was Kyle Bartley of all people. He'd love to get a goal after the injustice he feels that penalty given against him. And it was a decent header. He rises above Mitrovic, but again, doesn't put too much power behind it. In any case, I think it was always in the path of the goalkeeper. As Bartley now with a strong challenge on Mitrovic. No free kick given. West Brom keep the ball, and it's now Grant. Gets the ball to Hugill. Just stopped at the edge of the area, and now it's Harry Wilson for Fulham. Down the right-hand side. Square to Jean-Michel Seri. And Seri looks up. He could have played it square to Robinson. Just holds the ball up on the halfway line. Inside to Wilson. Back now to Adebayo. Wilson hits it first time. That's an under-hit pass. Easily picked off by Townsend, but then he wastes the gift by not playing a particularly good ball to Carlin Grant. Out now for a throw to Fulham down the right-hand side. Well, we can see that Fulham have had 7 shots in the game. 1 has been on target. That was the penalty they scored from. West Brom have had 7 shots on target. 7 shots, 3 of which have been on target. And the possession stat is still almost double in favour of Fulham. With 63 to 37. So in any case, the visitors have responded since they conceded that goal, and they're getting shots away, but still not really enough to test Rodak consistently. And the ball now back with Sam Johnston. We've got about 5 minutes to go in this first half. Johnston now with a clearance up towards Cabano, but Snodgrass wins that ball back for West Brom. He then goes back towards the goalkeeper Johnston. Now down the left-hand side for Townsend. That's an under-hit back pass. It's a great chance for Mitrovic, and it's 2-0. And that is suicidal from West Bromwich Albion. They were in comfortable possession at the edge of their own box. And then Robert Snodgrass, well, he puts his hand up now to apologise. It's not going to do too much to help the scoreline because his side are now 2-0 down. Snodgrass plays a pass which is at least 5 yards short of where it needs to be. And Mitrovic can't believe his luck. It's Clark, plays the ball into Townsend. Snodgrass turns and then plays the ball back to the edge of the area. And it's actually, I mean, you could actually argue that if it wasn't for the fact they were in different shirts, it's actually a perfect through ball to Alex Mitrovic. Only difference is, of course, that they're in different shirts, and Mitrovic just pounces on that loose ball. It's a very bad pass from Snodgrass. I mean, in fairness, he is being closed down by Decordova-Reid, which might just rush him a little bit. But it doesn't change the fact that Snodgrass has got to take responsibility for that goal. If West Brom felt unlucky about the first goal, then sadly the second goal is all of their own making. And Valerian Ismail, plenty to think about now with his side just 4 minutes away from half-time. Now trailing by 2-0. Mitrovic getting both of them. And West Brom now restart play. That was off the back of me mentioning those stats, which was showing that West Brom were actually starting to have a bit more of an attacking presence in this first half. And then that's a glaring error there from Snodgrass. And all of a sudden it's Fulham now 2-0 up, and West Brom, I would say almost a mountain to climb, isn't it? With Fulham, I say they are good at holding on to a lead, particularly once they're 2 up at home. You do feel as though this is a strong lead for Fulham now in the game. But having said that, if West Brom were to get a goal back before half-time, we've still got 3.5 minutes, then it could certainly make for an interesting second half as the ball is crossed in. It just gets away from Jordan Hugill. And Robinson now with a huge ball down the left-hand side. Brilliantly taken down there by Mitrovic on the run, trying to spin away from Furlong, which he does. He feeds that ball in to Cabano, who is brought down by Semi Ajayi. It's a free kick to Fulham at the edge of the penalty area. Semi Ajayi is unhappy with that decision. He feels as though he may have won the ball, but I think there was always just a little bit too much of the man. He was already trying to pull on Cabano's shirt. Then he holds on to him. And then a bit of a trip as well. So as I say, take your pick really as far as what's the actual, which of those fouls actually led to the referee giving the free kick. But it is a good opportunity now for Fulham to get this ball into the penalty area from the left-hand side. And it's Seri and Wilson standing over this one. Try and get the ball into the penalty area. Seri right-footed. It suits a more right-footed cross of the ball, with it being on the left-hand side. It would be an in-swinger. Wilson may just add a bit more variety with that left foot, but it looks like it is going to be Seri. He goes for goal. Oh, and I tell you what, it's a bouncer as well that the goalkeeper Johnston had to watch, but in the end makes the save. Tried to catch him out at his near post. The problem with the free kick from Seri was that he wasn't really going towards the near post. It was going right down the middle of the goal, and that made it that much easier for Johnston to make the save. He cleared it long here, Sam Johnston, but too long, and the ball goes straight through towards Marek Rodak. I've seen that a couple of times already from the West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper. Ball down the right-hand side. Rodak's turn it was this time, just to try and clear it long, and he's miscued it as well. It's out for a throw now down the left-hand side. And now the ball is back with Matt Clark. Clark back to Johnston. Johnston now looks up with a long clearance down the right-hand side, headed forward it was headed forward by Furlong, who'd got almost into an attacking position there. Makes sense really, because West Brom have got to do something to try and get the next goal in this game. And eventually the ball bouncing into the arms of Marek Rodak. 30 seconds until we hit injury time in this first half. Difficult to know just how much injury time there's going to be. I would expect there to be 2 minutes really. Took a lot of time to sort out that penalty. And with the second goal being scored, of course, there's always a little bit of time to restart play. We'll find out in the next few seconds how much injury time there will be. Long clearance from Rodak back into midfield. Played forward here by Jake Livermore. And out of play for a throw to Fulham down the left-hand side. Just waiting for a confirmation from our fourth official. Perkis hasn't put the board up just yet, but I'm sure that he'll be doing so very shortly, as Valerian Ismail will be very keen to get his players in, just to try and give them a little bit more direction in this second half, because West Brom started the game well, then they allowed Fulham into the game, then Fulham scored from that penalty, and it took a little while for West Brom to sort of adjust once they'd conceded that penalty. Then they were starting to look as though they were on top, with a bit more possession, a couple of half chances, and it was in that period where the mistake from Snodgrass led to Mitrovic's second goal. And now, of course, Fulham in a much stronger position. Confirmation that we have got 2 minutes of injury time at the end of this first half. A good ball in from the right-hand side from Decordova-Reid, but also well read there by goalkeeper Sam Johnston. Decordova-Reid looked up early. The ball was never intended, I don't think, for Mitrovic. It was always going to be for Harrison Reed. But the goalkeeper came out, just sort of palmed the ball up in the air, Sam Johnston, before catching it. And once again, his clearance is too long, goes straight through to Marek Rodak. All four goalkeepers clearing it long. I think that far too many teams have, it's almost become illegal for their goalkeepers to take long goal kicks and punt kicks now. They're having to always play out from the back, which is risky, I think, particularly if it becomes obvious that the team never play it long. Just means that there's always going to be a number of opposition players pressing to try and get that. Now it's back over on the right-hand side here with Dennis Adoy. Throw to Fulham with just seconds of the 2 minutes of injury time still left. Ball now played in towards Harry Wilson. It just gets away from him. And Semi Ajayi over towards Darnell Furlong. He goes back towards Semi Ajayi, and the referee Michael Salisbury calls time on this first half at Craven Cottage. Fulham lead by 2-0 against West Bromwich Albion after a penalty from Mitrovic on 20 and a strike from open play from Mitrovic on 40 minutes. And I'm back in 15 minutes for second half of Tube Studio Commentary.